はい、お願いします。Okay, the restrictions have increased. I did some pretty good research. I mean, in other words, I called Lauren Hare and Linda Holiday Sensei, and they both did extensive research and forwarded me links. So we're still in compliance. Okay, if that changes, and we would have to do a dojo mailing and everything like that. So the outdoors, as long as we keep up, we need to be a little bit more strict about the social distancing. So, and if you feel like you need it, this is hand sanitizer. Okay, so we'll just put this out here. But I think we'll kind of observe the social distancing a little more strictly. Okay, in other words, instead of kind of doing a lot of the taking things, which still put us, within that 6-foot radius, we'll focus just on a group thing where, again, we're each working on movements. Okay, so that's what I thought we would do. Let's do this. Just to kind of line up over there, so that why don't we, so that we are sort of speaking to the camera, so to speak. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Okay, and what I thought we would cover is a lot of times, there's what's called a check down. Okay, and for example, when you're holding the staff, for me, the major staff form is the thrust form. You don't want to choke up too much. So, but on the other hand, you don't want to hold the end of it. You about an inch up. Just as in the sword, I use what I call more of a diagonal grip, which means the palm is a part of the grip. People say hold with the little finger, but palm, little finger, and of course it gets the support of the ring finger, the other fingers. And then the thumb is not in a clench position. It's more like you're giving somebody a back press. Okay, yeah. So right here, and I put that at the very end, leaving about an inch. And the other hand, okay? Thrust form, your left foot leads. Sword, a lot of times, our right foot leads, okay? So sword, the strong hand is your left hand because right foot forward, this is closer to your center. The right hand is a guidance system. The left hand kind of is more of the motor, okay? All right? Now, with this is reversed, okay? All right. And on the hip, there's a tendency sometimes to kind of wind up. What happens when you're winding up to do something, somebody else is coming in. So feet point, forward foot base, and right. I like the feeling that I'm sort of on some sort of flotation, like a platform on water. There's a gentle rocking. It's supposed to be standing on concrete. Okay. Grip top. Okay. So this is what we call a check down. Body, feet, point base. Okay. Hands, palm in the grip, holding from the top as opposed to this underneath. This is rifle. This is okay. And then when we're okay, to observe right at the end, boom, there's that focusing motion. care of people. I want to have, and that's so. Working by yourself, trust about heart level. You don't want it absolutely straight because here, if I hit something, I kind of nikyo myself. Okay. So this is slightly underneath and in front of the heart. Right? I go this way, it's going to rebound. Like this because I'll just sort of miss. Okay? And then back. And knee covers toe. If it goes past that, what's the purpose of ukemi? You recover your balance as opposed to stop and set to get on that. This is that point, boom. Good uke knows. You keep your balance. If you need to, you roll, recover your balance. You don't go and freeze. Okay? Boom. Boom. Now, the diagonal grip is important because if I hold this way, I can't do the closing motion as well. Okay? So holding the diagonal grip, you get the double spiral. Now here, a lot of people teach this one, and I can't show it all that well, but for example, here, there's that. Oops, if I can do this a little better. Do a little better. As opposed to this. The sphere must penetrate. Now here we're not thinking about penetrating anybody, okay? We are, however, learning how to focus, boom, right there, okay? So just a little bit, just working. And when you go back, this resets. You don't want to reset to here. Right about here, that V between your index finger and your thumb, right in the middle, you get the double spiral, the knuckle goes over the other side. Now here, you don't want to go all the way to here. It resets so that the V forward hand lines up and there's hip. Boom. 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 Okay, now add some footwork. Boom. Which means that forward foot moves and the back foot moves up. Okay? Okay? And add some footwork as you go back. Now you want that springy feeling, which means your weight is on the balls of the feet. It's not like this. Boom. Boom. Okay, now check your hands. Is your right hand. Again, that's your motor. Connects to your body. This is your guidance system here. It's not, right? Boom. 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 Anthony, right here. Make sure that lead hand also. Yeah. 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 You got the back hand. But right here, see, the lead hand doesn't stop the throw. But boom. Yes, that's good. Okay. Keep going. Okay, Steve. Also right here, you're getting the turn. Now, it's tricky because what you want to do is you don't want to go like that, but you also don't want to go like that. Because right here, yes. Boom, 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 boom. It's almost like, Japanese, they have those edamame, and you could have an edamame fight. You could just squeeze the soybean thing and shoot the so here this there. That's better. What do you get that closing motion? Okay. Okay. Just your basic thrust. Ooh. You're taking all your energy and you're focusing it along a beam, okay? It's almost like I got a flashlight, it's all ready, but the batteries are dead. But here, that boom, that click, batteries, the beam goes out. If it's this way, I forget to turn it on. If it's this way, I break the flashlight. Ooh. Yeah, yeah, we'll try to social distance here, but like Steve to come out and put your hand this way. Okay, let's try to do it social distance. Firm right there. Okay. That's the closing motion. Ooh. Now, this is to slap, and this is to tense. Ooh. Okay? Then you can kind of do that social distancing. Okay. Yeah, this is what you call direct transmission. In other words, but you actually feel it. Put your hand out, okay, and be solid. See if I'm a little more solid. Good. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tense when I do that. Okay. Boom. Okay. Are you okay with the shoulder? Okay. So, yeah. Okay, that's fine. Use whatever. Yeah. Okay. Right here. Ooh. See, when you get your key going, everything starts to vibrate. There's vibration to it. It's almost like if you turn the flashlight on, the batteries create a current, right? And that current translates into a beam of light. Okay. You just get the physical. Ooh. That's that moment where your battery, all right, everything is in alignment, and you boom, you flip the switch, the light goes out. But battery, right? You make the proper connection. Boom. Three of you, why don't you just line up and just practice that thrust motion? Okay, Anthony, when you hit the wall, you're finishing. You extend into the wall, boom, create a pathway, boom. You don't want to go like that. You're creating a, boom, yeah. Okay. Get the vibration, that vibration. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. See? Now this hand here can stop it. In other words, you can turn the flashlight on, put your hand here. All right. In other words, the light wants to go out, but yeah. Now one of the tricks right here is to boom. That actually this and this. See, this is going out. This can stop that by going like holding on to it. You gotta boom. Yeah. Okay. So those hands work together to produce the beam. Uh, there is an action. It's not a tightening, but it is a closing motion. That the front hand. That's very tricky. That's good. You'll feel the vibration. See, here I'm not getting the vibration. I'm getting motion. There's motion, but that boom. Yeah. Okay. If you're too tight, you block it. If you're too loose, it gets too diffuse. You're really focusing your key in a stream. Okay, that's really what that closing motion is. Okay, now we're going to add one more thing to that. Okay, which is now what I really want to do. This is harder, but the body is rotating. Okay, so what I want you to see right here is somebody's coming towards me. That's energy coming in. Now, a lot of times what we'll do is we'll move our feet and get an angle to do that. But part of the thrust will face the camera. You're off the line of an incoming thrust. Okay, let's have Steve come in this way with a thrusting motion. Boom. Okay. In other words, what I'm doing is exact. I'm not an easy motion. Check your feet. You're on that platform, and there's a gentle rocking motion. You feel it through all your joints. And then your core moves freely off of your foundation or base. In this direction, just boom, settle. Boom. Now, when you're thrusting, that's a basic thrust, but one up. It's a spiral, but it's not in the hands. The hands go this way. But as your body starts to experience what we call the Taisevaki, all right, the change, it goes out in a thrust without your hands going that way. Okay? And it's not a big spiral, not a spiral. Straight, boom. hips moving, a little bit of a, you're still on target, boom. But, okay, now when you first do this, you just put your feet where they are and work on the actual body change. See, when you're thrusting, you are off the line of your own thrust. Motion at the end. The feet are, they form a good base. But the base is not concrete, it's very flexible. All right, if you're too heavy on the feet, your hips don't move this way. You don't create the spiral in the thrust. Try it without the forward foot moving. Okay, now, when you go this way, you stop the change. This is why it's a, you let it, boom, as opposed to boom. It's, good, yeah. Keep going. Okay. Try one, oh, hold there. Yeah. Now, rotate hips. Yeah. It's not a huge movement. If I go like this, I give everything away. Better. Okay. Okay. Now, one of the things we're doing, we're going from the closing motion of the thrust to what we call the Taisevaki. Okay? Taisevaki means body changing. Okay? And there's a tendency to go, Taisevaki is Irimi Tenkan. But there are gradations of, right? Like what I use a lot is there's a wall, but there's a crack in the wall. I can't go in this way, so I can go this way, but it gets narrower. Okay? And if I just stop, squeeze a couple more feet out of it. Try that visualization. Okay? There's a wall in your imagination, there's a crack in it. You can't go in this way, but you can turn, and as you keep going, it gets narrower, but you keep going. You have to keep changing, don't you? Yeah. Now, a skateboard. Yeah. Yeah. Now, and when you're through the wall, you have the closing. If you go like here, you create the crack to be too narrow. Oh, I'm through. That's something you have to create in your imagination because there's no partner here. Okay? That's Anthony, that's good. Okay? Okay. Now what I want is I'm going to have Steve come out. I'll try to do this as well as we can, social distancing. So I'd like you to put your staff in the other hand, okay? Okay, and I'm going to get into my thrust position. Now what I'm going to do right here is a straight thrust. Steve's going to grab the end. I think we can still social distance somewhat right here, okay? I'm hitting a wall. Okay, that motion. You feel that? Okay, now I'm turning the hip. Now, a lot of our co-cue is understanding that. The axle, if I start to generate that spiral with the hand, okay, that's called a direct transmission. In other words, you know, it's not about understanding the words, you felt it, okay? Okay, so other hand, good, all right. Once you get a little bit more in here, okay? Okay, now, hold it, yeah, all right. It's scientific experiment. You hold, it works, but you're gonna look weird. Okay, now be solid. That's a straight thing. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is that motion, right? You see how it's not that, it's really the straight thrust, but your Taisevaki not only gets you off the line of a thrust, it also generates that spiral power. Okay, so we'll kind of, okay, you see the difference right there? Right? There's an expression in basketball, ball don't lie. It's out of bounds. Okay? They have replay now, so the official says, no, that was in bounds, or that was out of bounds, and then coach says replay, it was not out of bounds. The ball was positioned. The camera will let you know. So, okay. Now, if you change the angle of the grip, it changes what happens through uke. Okay. But what you want to be able to do, one, you understand to close that motion, get the vibration. But you want to be off the line of an incoming. Okay? Boom. And so, now here, squeezing through that crack, I get to the other side, I go dip it out. Okay? And if I do that quick, for example, here, all right? Boom. You add that little, right? So you get that vibration at the end, which is kind of means the key is flowing through both you and your partner. Okay, if I do this a little quick, it goes through me, but it bounces off of him. See, we're not into like taking a sharp spear point and going boom, killing people with it. But it's almost like in these times, wear a mask. And he says, I don't wear. We say there's a reason for it. And he says, okay, I better wear a mask. It's called communication. See what I mean? I can yell at him, but until he kind of the message gets in, he's just going to say, "Now you're just politicizing this. There's no real virus out there." I'm saying, look, wear a mask, not just for yourself, but for other people. Okay? So what I want you to do, let's go back out. Two things, okay, I want you to work on. Why don't you get positioned over there? One, extend proper form. See, all the right about here, boom, the key goes through you. See, all this right here, key is going through me, but it's bouncing off a partner. And right about here, boom, your partner is included in the key flow. It's not just your key flow then. It's your and your partner's key flow, okay? Now I want you to combine that with the Taisevaki. Other side of the wall, boom, you celebrate. Okay. Keep going. Anthony, now dive. Boom. Okay. That's a feeling. You see, the longer the wall, the more potent the closing motion, the celebration. All right? Okay? You're a basketball team. You make it to the playoffs. You win. You go to the semis. You win. You go to the conference finals. You win. You go to the championship round. You win. There's a parade. Okay? Now, we're not beating anybody or winning games, so to speak. But what you're doing is you're reprogramming your psyche. Okay? And Osensei's, thing with Sadaharu O was, using another form. It's like, oh, it's too quick. Wait, boom. Learn to wait, boom. Learn to wait, boom. Right? You're just saying swinging motion, boom. Okay? So that closing motion, without the closing motion, ki moves through you, but doesn't communicate with your partner. You see what I mean? And you can get a lot of good practice at just working by yourself. When you're working by yourself, you can also be creating a situation with a partner. So keep going. Okay, now you're getting it. See, the longer you go through that wall and that crap, the more potent that is. Yes, yes. And start to get a sketch of it. Oh yeah, I'll submit it, but it probably won't sell. Or you can go, okay. And so that's my policy of Sensei telling me, okay. Okay. Now, any questions on that? That's a very basic move. What you see these days is the standardization of Aikido technique is more sword. And so they really see Taisevaki as enter. But there are all these gradations. See, if I look at Osensei's movement, I mean, yeah, you see the sword in it, but what you really see is his work with the spear. Okay? The sword, you're going to be, it's a little top heavy, you know? All right? But the spear, right for your gut, your heart. You see what I mean? And so when I watch Osensei sword work with somebody, what I really see is he's using the sword much like a spear. And so what we're trying to do is get back more to the original of things. Okay? And right there is work you can do individually. But individual work, you might as well think how it you work. Okay? You see what I mean? That part of it is tricky because right here we're saying one thing you can do, you can put your feet in concrete. In other words, you can't dance, and you got one shot to get off the line and to time that. And then if you do that, you can celebrate. All right, victory parade, promotion, make somebody buying your story and paying you. You know the feeling. But it's like, oh yeah, this is a great idea, but I haven't really written anything. I just sort of, yes. Okay, that's that closing motion. The Warriors, and I think what you're going to see this year, assuming he stays healthy, is you're going to see Curry a lot off the ball. In other words, you know, he's your best player, but what makes him real special is, you know, he doesn't just dribble the ball and shoot. He can do that. But when he gives the ball up, he's even more dangerous. He moves. And then as a teammate, you got to say, okay, he's open, boom, and then he catches the ball in a good position. Okay? So you have to be able to read the court. I'm not going to throw it to Steph yet. Okay, now he's going to cut, boom. Okay, now he to the hoop, he cuts out, boom, over in the corner three, boom. That's all waiting, but it's not waiting. By the time you do that, it's too late. Okay? So the same thing. We're not a sporting event, but you're a writer, you know, you got a good idea, you sketch it out, you write it, you feel good about it, you submit it, somebody buys it and publishes it. That's weight. After a while, it's like that. Oh, buy that story just because of who you are, right? If Michael Moorcock wanted to publish an Elric story, I'm sure somebody would buy it like that. You know, it gets very fast, right? The world out there of publishing and sci-fi, sci-fantasy says, Michael Moorcock, Elric. Yes! Boom! Okay? So it gets very quick, but you go through that. It makes a lot of people certain. So, one, it actually, in a lot of ways, for example, okay, if you, we'll try to do this in social distance. Okay, just do it thrust form towards me. Okay, good. And be firm, okay? He's not going to move. See what I'm doing is that closing motion, yeah, boom, 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 goes into a larger vibration. Then right about there, there's motion. You're always reading. See, I have a great idea. Well, since he had a great idea, Martial arts is love. The world says, screw you. Dog eat dog, get to the top, bleed the world for all. That's the way it works. He said, no. And he could have just been some guy in southern Japan with some philosophy, but all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. And so he says, okay, I know why you think that way, but why don't you feel what I have right here? So he was able to take his philosophy and get it published. You see that feeling right there? So what we're working on right here is that sense of boom. Now the Taisevaki, now for example here, if you look at this, my body, it's getting off the line, isn't it? But there's also a change. See, right there is a wall. Okay, what do? I'm yelling at a wall. No, it's just the timing. Behind the wall, there's a secret entranceway. There's a whole world of ki, and it vibrates. It does other things. It breathes. There's sound. There are shapes, triangle, circle, square. And then we say, Yurimi Tenkan, and we miss it. Because the actual outer form gets so strong, we don't investigate the other stuff. You get what I'm saying a little bit? Okay? So we're going to try to realize that distancing is getting very, very demanding. We're going to do a little bit more individual, but I'll demonstrate as best I can with maybe one person, how this works a bit. But anytime, if you sort of get, right, now that vibration, boom, you're in the victory parade, but it goes all the way up and down Market Street and whatever you want to call it. Okay? So all of a sudden, there's a whole world where ki is moving, but it also has a type of vibration. You go, the world says, no, it doesn't. You go, oh, you wait, not wait for nothing to happen or try to force it too quick, but oh. So that pause right there is really this change. And then, boom, celebration. You sold it, publishing, boom. Whatever you want to say. Your throw works. Okay, all right, okay. So just that thrust form is an important one, okay? So Cliff, don't be too quick. It's a good story. You want, boom. And then after a while, Cliff, when he submits a manuscript, I'm saying, Cliff, we want you to write a story for us. You got one? You see what I mean? The world starts to come to you, right? But you got to put your own key out and let it kind of talk to the world before the world can talk back. And here we have uke nage. Okay, the Taisevaki is important because it gets you off the line of attack, but it also you're grounded, but you're not set grounded, flexible grounded. Like for example, if it comes in here, and maybe this ground this much, I move over here. Well, that starts the communication. You have tools, you can move. It's just sometimes I dance around so much. No matter what I do, nothing changes. But if I go here, boom, boom, boom. See what happens is, that there's that vibration, but there's no space here. Actual vibratory constructs that are there. And you also have the fact that, you can move, but you don't dance around. All right, I'm sure Sensei, he looks very dance-like sometimes. You watch him, but he's not dancing. Moves, he perfected against, working by himself, working out the spear angles. Okay? All right? Now, what we're going to do here is why don't we spread out? So off of this motion, boom, there's up, there's down, boom. Boom. You have the victory parade. Boom. You get invited to the White House. Boom. You shake hands with the president. Not the current one, but the one to come. Boom. Boom. Now, after a while, that's very quick. Yeah. But I'm sure since they spent, and maybe even as he got older, he would still probably check those points. So you got this, boom. House. Boom, shake the president's hand. Boom. Okay? And you want to. Okay? All right? Steve? Boom. Yeah. One of the things that's real hard to show is Kokyu-ho. Okay? For example, somebody grabs me here. The motion here opens up. See, if I go here and try to move, I'm in a set position. Okay? That's what I mean. Let's say he does the thing again. Okay, I'm going to try to move him. Well, guess what? We're going to move a little bit here. That opens that up. That's Kokyu-ho. Kokyu-ho takes advantage of what you call space, but also the fact that things group in vibrations, right? Certain vibrations, and you have the ability to match. Now, for example, here, okay, we're going to, okay, it's a denser vibe. Okay, I have a great idea, but nobody will buy my story. Right, boom, boom. Okay, but I also get a sense of, there's a real scarcity of something in literature right now. So, you start to take advantage of it. I got a story about something I think is going to be the next big thing. Read it, please. Wow. You see what I mean? There's space. The ability to understand the vibrational nature, you begin to understand the power of just space. Okay? I think Mr. O, when he was playing, would think, I got to hit a home run. Well, guess what? He's not, it's so tight, he's probably not going to do very well. So if he had to hit a home run, I think he had to kind of give himself a lot of space to wait for his pitch, as opposed to, I'm going to try to hit the pitcher's pitch. No. Pitch. Boom. And Curry, I got a good shot, but I'm going to move around in position for a great shot. That's space. Okay? And so as we understand it, that is a very potent force also. There's a vibrational nature of energy. Okay? If you really want to reach out, make a connection, you can't just bounce off of somebody. But then sometimes you open it up. See, if he's here, like here, and he really doesn't say a little bit, give him space. Other than that, you're trying to talk about you're trying to talk about racial equality to a real confirmed racist. You got to say, why don't you look at it from so and so's point of view? Can you do that? No, I can't. Okay, I'll talk to somebody else. Or, I never thought about that. A little glimmer. But you got to create space sometimes for it to go into somebody else. Not be aggressive, not attack them. But sometimes, the hardest thing in the world, he wants to hold on to something. And I'm just bumping, he's your boss that doesn't listen. All right, boom. Boom, 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 boom. But you're bright, so, there's a couple of things I think we're boom, 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 boom. All right? And all that right there is creating the space on my opening for the vibrational stuff to kick in. You might have a great truth in the other people all the time, and it just bounces off. So you got to look at it and say, I have no idea what the Biden presidency will be, but I kind of know what it's not going to be. In other words, whether you like that or not, I think you'll be somebody who can take action, but can say, okay, I want to, you Republicans, I'm your president too. We're going to try to establish something here. It's supposed to create more polarity so I get my way. And that's space. If all of a sudden, Democrat, Republican, we're just going to go at it this way. Screw you, Mr. President. You're a Democrat. Space. Different administration. Now, in that space, my message will go out and maybe you'll get this conversation. See, it's like, other than that, we're just going to bounce off of each other forever. You know, you're progressive. Okay, you're conservative. Oh my gosh, impossible divide. Okay, well, guess what? People are dying and people are being evicted because of a pandemic. We need both sides to come together and take positive action, right? We do. And so this has far-reaching potential. You have a very beautiful message, but nobody listens. And conversely, sometimes you run into an impossibility, you create space so your message has more room to move around in and bounce off of more people. If somebody rejects your manuscript, you send it out to some other people. And some smart person says, this is pretty good. Whoa, yeah. You see what I mean? That's space. Okay, so you're working both. Now, for example, this motion, that doesn't communicate. Now you're going to try this one, but it's going to bounce off too. So you create space by relaxing. Okay, or boom, see you are rotating. This is Taisevaki. Okay, this is kind of like everything is where everything expands. That's move. They use the term fly like lightning. See, there are various powers we have. They're not superpowers. They're kind of like the ability to understand how energy works. And it was a martial artist. Something. So the ability to understand how energy works gives you tools in your particular world. Okay? So what I want you to do, and the way Sensei put it, fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Boom. Cliff, manuscript's gone out to 3 people who are very interested. But, boom, you've done the work, boom. Now, boom, and boom. All 3 want it. You can have a bidding war. Okay, better. That closure is important. You're a very talented guy that nobody notices. That's painful. But you say, here I am. You sort of understand the Sensei secret. And you win a Nebula Award. If they still have it, I used to, yeah, okay. Yeah. So there But the contraction, expansion, or expansion, contraction, tension, release, release, tension. Tension is not tension. Tension is really focus, right? You sort of have to have that, the sterling resolve, like nobody touched my manuscript yet. Keep going. And then you reach a critical mass, and all of a sudden things open up, right? Okay. So since they got into the high power, and so they're unfortunately they're not superpowers like fly or lift 3 tons or anything like that, but they are like be able to read energy, be able to create your own path in a way that benefits the world and you. Okay, I'll do it if it benefits me. Good, but one should add one more ingredient, which is benefits the world too. Yeah, Conan Doyle couldn't get any patients. He went through med school, so he started writing. He created Sherlock Holmes, right? Sometimes, it's like, okay, you're a good doctor, but you're an even better writer, right? Yeah. So sometimes you find your true avocation because that's good, but there's another avenue where you'd be great. You see? I mean, people tend to think, well, he was really Watson because, Watson was the doctor. But Conan Doyle was pretty smart, right? He was pretty smart. Okay. So maybe there's that. I'm really good in that lineage or that, but I'm really great here. Stephen Curry, I can be a really good golfer or baseball player or bowler, anything with a round ball. I'm a genius. Basketball. I'm sure he could have done anything, but there's basketball. That's, all of a sudden that opens up. Yeah, I'm going to be a basketball player. You're too small. We won't, you can walk on, but we're not going to give you a scholarship to play for us. You're too, yeah, you got skills, but kid, your dad was 6'6", you're 6'3", you're never going to make it. You heard that a lot. Then all of a sudden, Tiny Davidson College says, Steph, we'll offer you a full scholarship. And he goes to the NC2As 1 year, becomes a national hero. The Warriors luck out and draft him. A lot of good things happen. And if all he did was just bounce off of what people said couldn't do, that wouldn't happen. Okay? So we're here, boom, and we're here, boom. So you can, boom, you can make this other one, boom, boom, or you can boom, boom. That's expansion, boom, that's contraction. So you have some freedom just in those 3 moves. David, what's the time like? It's 12:30. Okay, that's getting there. Yeah, Anthony, that's getting there. Keep going. Steve? Okay. I'm just going to create a scenario. You're a great rebound screen, but I'm Steph Curry, and you're running up the floor open. I'm going to throw it around. You didn't know it, but you can dunk. But that ball is up there, you don't even know you can reach it. Boom, slam dunk. You got to open up on that one. Remember, it was since it fly like lightning. boom. Yeah. You didn't even know you could get that ball, but all of a sudden now you're a lob threat, right? If you just say, I can't reach it, it sails out of bounds. It's turnover, but okay. Well, Draymond Green, when he was a rookie, and think, why are they playing that guy? Yeah, why the second year, why are they playing that guy? Third year, right? It was just everybody was saying, well, he's this, that, this, that. I found out, no, he's a lot more. Okay. And you didn't know the ceiling was that high. So you got to sometimes just stretch your wings on that one. Fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. But you got to be like lightning to catch that lob, boom, so you can strike like thunder. Yeah. So when you do that, that's the way of training. The fly like lightning, strike like thunder, that's kototama. Right? Just words. Fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Boom. Okay, if you come in this direction, we'll go boom, fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Steve Perot says that the kototama wasn't just words. It was vibration. If you start to get the vibration, you start to realize the words become your teacher. Fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. Wow. So I use those a lot when I'm training by myself. I mean, most of us are training by ourselves, you know. Okay. So you get that a little bit? Okay. So now you can read those sensei's words. Oh yeah, that was kind of nice. I'll meditate on that. And it's like, no, most of that stuff is instructional if you realize it's kototama, right? He talked about the Amatsu kami, the kami of heaven, Geni kami, and there's Kunitsu kami, the kami of earth. Well, the problem is we're stuck here in a very limited sense of ourselves. So since we're here, it's almost like the Kunitsu kami activate the Amatsu kami. Then you have heaven here on earth, don't you? Now heaven probably vibes a certain way. On earth, everything is kind of dense. So I know there's a bit of truth here, the space. Fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder, boom. Okay? If you want a good one, because it's all, the Kojiki were like comic book stories. Watch Wonder Woman, the first one, because the second one's going to come out. I just got HBO Max so I can watch it, okay? And she has to face Ares, the god of war. And she's a superpowered Amazon. And basically, she's a god. She's a goddess. Otherwise, she would have no chance against God of War. And what really sort of brings her into the full realization of being a goddess was death. You know, basically, it's Chris Pine, Steve Trevor. Then she comes out of that, and she is kind of that riding that goddess energy. Okay, so it's almost like your roots go to Mount Olympus, or since they say Takamagahara, the high place of it. Okay, and then we're down here in the world of suffering and war. She can't believe it. She just can't believe that people can be this way. Steve Trevor saying, look, you think we're this way, but maybe we're not the way you think. You think like a god or goddess does. We're people. But, he kind of touches his own God nature and sacrifices his life. That brings her down here where she can feel her grief and her loss. And all of a sudden, from being super powered Amazon, she realized like she's a goddess in that moment. And then Aries is in a lot of trouble. So, that's kind of that sense, where, you have the Amatsu kami. They're pretty much invisible. When we talk about love, peace, harmony, beauty, that's the Amatsu kami. Kunitsu kami are things like profiteering. Yes, here we are. That's power in this world. But in some sense, it's going to take the death of this to activate that. And so, communication. Then that communication goes into many little sub-angles. That communication is like breath, all right? But then it starts to get intensified with so all of a sudden you get the, or you really strike like thunder, and you really fly like lightning, or you move like a beam of light. If he's coming in this way, move like a beam of light. Boom, boom, boom. Huh? Or if he's coming in this way, then he's like boom. You're very, it's like boom, 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 huh? Boom, boom. Or, boom. All right. So since I was able to take the powers of the Kunitsu kami and bring them into being here in this dense realm, right? Heaven on earth. He stood on what he called Amino Ukihashi, which is kind of that place where you can be both, right? And so, that's my translation of a lot of his words and, using comic book archetypes, all right? But when you are, for example, this is like Diana training on the island of the Amazon, right? You're learning to run, boom, you're learning your craft of being a warrior. And then she goes out into the world of humankind, which is World War I in that first movie. And it's a very, very different experience. But she realizes she's of another world. She's trying to make that world better. And then, she has to really kind of understand this world, which means as a god or goddess, she understands loss, death, okay? And that awakens her goddesshood because she's fighting a god. And Steve Trevor's lesson was, look, you can beat Aries, but you've got to be able to bring these people up. It's not just him. It's in our nature to be imperfect. So I can save today, you can save the world. So I'll sacrifice myself in that crazy plane ride. So it's a good story. Because a new movie comes out, I guess Christmas Day, HBO Max. I don't know about movie theaters these days, but boom, 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 boom. And so when we're practicing these movements, we're actually practicing in some sense, I can't talk to the Amatsu kami. Well, since I would say everybody can. But, certain things like grounding here, getting more balance in this realm. All of a sudden, it starts to breathing, a vibration. That breath and vibration goes into many different frequencies and densities, but it's still that original breath vibration. And so his real, if we come in this direction, okay, this is a hard world. It's exactly, but there's a communication possible between, what Osensei called the divine realm of kami and what he called the more earthly realm, which we inhabit. And Gene is the ability to take that and bring it here. And in the process, what's down here gets transformed. And Diana does not stop war or stupidity. But she understands who she are, she understands who we are, and she is sort of committed towards bringing us more into balance with ourselves so we start to be more like we can be. Okay? So, that's taking a comic book movie and trying to transpose it into O Sensei's Kochiki. Goddess power is very, very potent. We tend to think in the West as God, but God, goddess. They're pretty much equal right there. Okay? So, yeah, I love that movie. Okay? All right? So, you can watch it or not, but the Aikido lesson is very, very similar. Okay? Our ability to do what O Sensei did is unfortunately somewhat limited because we get too caught up here. But, the ability to, again, when you boom, move like a beam of light, fly like lightning, boom, strike like thunder. I just let the words go through my system as vibrations. Okay? And I can practice a version of that just with this thrust. And, partly creating the space is a Taisevaki. In very tight quarters, boom, we can be pretty free. Boom. All right. If it's coming in this direction, what I'm going to do. The vibration does next. So I create space with the Taisevaki so the vibration starts to map a little bit. That's basic Kokyu. Between the vibrational nature of things and ability to create space, Kokyu or breath starts to kind of come in. And O-sensei was more the breath of Kami. Mine is a little bit more like, okay, it's I get my stuff from comic books, so it's not quite as nowhere near what he could do. I mean, I'm not Jimmy Olsen fluffing my arms and talking about Superman, unfortunately, but I'll live with that for now, okay? All right? So let's, now, here, for example, we have that motion. We have motion. Let's specialize that. They're more, okay? Now, the question right here with that one, is it a Yoko man? Because, in class, we attack Yoko man. But what I'm going to come in, he takes the head. See, I'm going Yoko here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to slant the angle of the, like it's a spear. It can cut. It can cut here, but the spear straight ahead is more fierce. But you can get off. And as he's coming in, boom, 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 boom. And the cut has kind of that piercing quality to it. Boom. He wants to come in and take the legs or something. Okay. You're creating right there. Okay. So let's position right side. This is like a sword cut, but what we're doing right there is we're really doing the Taisevaki. See, if I go like this, I can't go this way in a tight crack in that wall. But I can go this way. And so right here, I'm off the line of this attack. Same thing as a thrust, it's just a cutting strike. I never think strike, I really think cut. All right, now. Okay, I'm in the land of the Kunitsukami, the earthly realm of profiteering. Okay, and I want to bring in the Amatsu realm. Boom. Boom. I'm a very brave Amazon warrior that's expected to take down the god of war. I'm not going to do very well. I am the daughter of Zeus. Boom. The last part is something that was essentially understood that we're still trying to work on. It's a comedy or fairy tales, but to actually, how do they operate here? Well, they operate through us. And I can go into all the nice poetry of the words, but we want to make the words kototama as best we can. Maybe not the way he did. Okay? So what I want you to do, boom, and as you do this, boom, it's just right there. So you're still sliding through that crack on a skateboard. Boom. Yeah. That's why Sensei told Mr. O, he tried a bunch of other things like no space, no time, be the center of the universe. And so they finally said, well, what can I teach them tomorrow, O Sensei? So he told those coaches to teach them to wait. Okay. Why is that important? Because the longer you wait before you commit, the quicker you're back. And what they baseball is right here you rotate that way. If you swing like this, the pitcher's going to get you out. You know, so one, extend your arms fully. Two, you extend the bat out fully. Three, there's contact. Most people, Mr. O said, when they feel the ball, they close. And he just said, no, it's like the sword. You know, you go extend through the ball, boom, then you add that, then you get his home run. Okay? And how did he learn that? He learned that because those sensei told him to wait. And that increment of when the pitch is coming this direction, don't try to hit it. Learn to wait, and you'll assemble the exact right sequence. Bring the pitcher into your realm. The pitcher's trying to get you out. If you learn to wait, you're going to go into the realm of kami. And what does that mean? Well, you're gonna make outs, but you're going to also hit 868 home runs, which is otherworldly. Okay, that's kami realm here in the Amatsu land. Okay? So one of the things here, after a bit, that's very, very, it's everything's there in that motion. But you work on it a little bit. Here, 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 boom. Yeah. If you work on that closing motion, that's making a sale. It's getting published. Okay, that's closing a deal. That's getting yes when you ask for a date. You see what I mean? There's a lot of, we all have all this memory of bouncing off and everything like that, right? And there's the chemistry. You roll with it and come up. And you go again, you create space, and you go again. And that's strength. Yeah, that's good, Cliff. So when you win your nebula, remember it started here. Okay.
I'll certainly credit you in my work.
Yeah, well, okay. Yeah, better. That's better. Now, what I want you to do a little bit right here is watch, okay? You see how you come in right and left? You see what I mean? What you do is just behind. Yes, but boom. Okay, now the question is right here, where's Curry? Open in the corner for wide open 3, game over. How did he get there? Taisevaki. Okay? A 7-foot center. But 3 beats 2. All right? Simple math. Yeah, that's it. See, you're or Draymond sets the screen. Boom, where's Steph? He's wide open behind the screen, lining up to the basket. Boom, shot, game over. Okay, so that'll help you. Look at a mirror sometime. Boom, if you're cut. Or even right here, see right here, you see an opening on both sides, right? So if you come in this way, say, if you're going to come in at me, say, come on, come, boom, 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 boom. I'm actually folding myself behind the thrust. That's Taisevaki. I mean, literally, Taisevaki creates space, but it also gets your hips and your base into the movement. It's a wonderful thing. Then you get all of that and you miss the shot. Or you get so discouraged you don't send your manuscript out. Okay? Boom. So there's coming together, Osensei might put it, the earthly, heavenly realms through what he calls, Jin, the world of humanity, right? Here we are. And right where we are is called the floating bridge. That's where Koto happens. That's where you get the vibration and the breath space and the kind of work and create the Amatsu realm here in the Kunitsu realm. We're part of the Kunitsu, the earthly realm. But we use the earthly realm, our own physical training, to activate and bring in here the Amatsu realm. And that's, that to me is really what it's about. So why don't you go back for a second? I'll check with David and check about the time. A question about where are we time-wise? 3 minutes. Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah, that's studying it. See what I mean? That end sequence is important. You get everything right, but the idea dies. Yeah. That's, the purpose, for example, of some of the Misogi movements. Now, here what I'm doing, I'm too tense, too loose. The vibration, I feel all the way my ankles and toes into the ground, and there's a vibration that comes from the ground up through. If you pause for a bit, you may feel the body tingling a bit. You're now in an energy flow. I can do this for 20 minutes as an exercise. I go, oh, I'm getting bored. Or I can find that place where, boom, hey, check. A good day, you start to feel you're glowing a bit. All of a sudden, see, you're starting to connect the realms here, okay? But I can have this here, there's still a separation. So things like this, boom, boom, boom. There's not a, but right here, you're piercing through from earth to heaven, boom, bringing heaven back into earth. Boom, boom. In both ends, there's a, so your basic Misogi drills, you don't have room to swing your stick inside, boom. You can work some of them. Okay? And a couple of them we're going to bow out. We're kind of in a Matsu, the land of earthly. There's Kunitsu, right? So how do you bring that here? Well, the thing is, it's here already. The realms are really just all overlaid. But it's bringing in, piercing through. Likewise, boom, boom. And so, if I'm, for example, a little too dreamy, drifty, and I'm a little too, we'll do this forever, it's good exercise. Okay, but it's like boom, boom, boom. So what we're doing is utilizing the amatsu to activate kunitsu, bringing, since they can't bring heaven to earth, or standing right where you are is heaven, but we need to kind of, and so exercises like this are also things you can do to kind of get the feeling of the vibration in the space. Okay? Anyway, let's all line up and we'll bow out for today. Okay, thank you very much. Next week, we are heading into the Christmas to New Year's thing. Linda Holiday Sensei sent me an email, and she's taking a, okay. But what we're doing is, our break is usually, as it will be this year, from Christmas Eve, Thursday, to New Year's Eve, Thursday. Okay, that's upcoming. So our last class, and I intend to do both the Tai Chi Wednesday night club and also the noon Zoom Aikido class. Then there will be a break, both Aikido Tai Chi, from, again, Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve. But New Year's Day, we've had a tradition at the dojo of training, 11:30 to 11 to, generally we used to make it 11 to 12:30 because I usually had family stuff in San Francisco, but that's not happening because of the pandemic. So I don't know, we'll try to make it, I guess, the regular 11:30. And we usually take the second off and the regular schedule starts the day following the second. The second's going to be Saturday. So I'm planning on doing and trying to lead New Year's Day class here. If you have your contact with dojo people, contact them and see if you can get them to come out. We'll socially distance, okay? It's just a matter of keeping the spirit of the dojo alive, okay? And so if you know of people, just talk it up and just maybe we can get more energy. I mean, Linda Holiday says the same thing in Santa Cruz. The classes are small, okay? The outdoor classes, there's more energy at them because, we get a chance to be grouped as opposed to online. We're going to continue the online. It may get to a certain point where they totally close the outdoor gymnasium activity, which this technically is. And they close, like parks and playgrounds, which this kind of is. Okay, so we'll keep everybody posted on that. But until that happens, and until that happens, we'll continue to do the Saturdays. Okay, so but we will be doing the New Year's Day Friday. Okay, and so if you talk among your Aikido dojo mates and see if we can get some people here, because it's a good way to start the new year. And Aikido, you can say, well, can Aikido beat the coronavirus? I think the way to look at it is the spirit of the training can give us purpose and strength during the pandemic. And we'll be taking much stricter precautions, with the outdoors. Like today, we kind of really in very structured ways. We're right on the verge of breaking the social distance, even with the weapons, when we kind of work and hold the weapons with somebody else. But we'll try and really up. This is again where this is what Osensei calls Shinken. The situation is a pandemic. We can't change it, but we can line up start to feel the more ourselves. There's a lot of wonderful things that now are the reality of the pandemic, but circulating, bringing the Aiki here as best we can. If we do that, we'll come out of this better. And I'm sure if Osensei were here, he'd be proud of us if we could do that. So talk among your friends, see if we can get a little spirit on the New Year's Day class out here. And we will also put it online so it's not that people miss it. But just getting a socially isolated mass group, I think would be kind of cool. Okay, so thank you all for coming. And let's and one more, thank you.